My friends, when we look at the most successful people in the world, what do we usually see? Their shining achievements, their fame, their wealth, and their recognition, God. But what we don't see is the hidden part of their journey. The nights of struggle, the days of doubt, the failures that tested their patience, God, and the storms that built their strength. Struggle is not something we should run away from. Struggle is a teacher. Struggle is a sculptor. Just as fire tests and purifies gold, struggles shape us into stronger, wiser, and more compassionate human beings. Without challenges, success would not taste sweet. Without resistance, we would never know our own power. Think of a butterfly. Before it spreads its wings and flies, it struggles to break free from the cocoon. If someone cuts open that cocoon to help, the butterfly, it will never develop the strength in its wings to fly. That struggle is essential. In the same way, our struggles prepare us for the heights of life. Every difficulty you face is not a punishment, but preparation. Every closed door is not rejection, but redirection. Every setback is not the end, but the foundation for a comeback. So when life places challenges in your path, don't curse them, embrace them. Because one day, when you succeed 16 hours in God, you look back and realize that the very struggles you wanted to avoid were the exact steps that led you to greatness. When most of us face struggles, our first thought is often, why me? Why is life so unfair to me? We see struggles as barriers, as walls blocking our way, and God. But if we change the lens through which we look at them, and God, we will realize that they are not obstacles at all. They are stepping stones that lead us higher. Imagine walking up a staircase. Each step might feel like an effort, especially when you are tired. But without those very steps, you would never reach the top. In the same way, struggles may feel heavy, uncomfortable, or even painful. But they are the very process through which we ascend to success. Take the story of a seed. Before it becomes a beautiful tree, it has to be buried in the dark soil. It has to crack open, push through the dirt, and fight its way toward the sunlight. Ours and God. If you were to look at the seed in that moment of breaking, you might think it is being destroyed, but in truth, it is growing. God, the very act of struggling in the soil is what makes it strong enough to stand tall later as a tree. Similarly, when we are in the middle of our challenges, it may look like everything is breaking us. But those cracks are actually making space for our growth. Every struggle you face is preparing you for something you may not yet see. Ours in God. Think about learning any new skill, whether it's driving, cooking, or even speaking in front of people. In the beginning, it feels frustrating, almost impossible. But through repeated effort, through mistakes and corrections, you begin to improve. Without that period of struggle, you would never master the skill. That means every challenge you face today is training you for tomorrow's victories. Struggles also remind us that success is not free. If success came without effort, none of us would value it. It is precisely because of the sweat, the failures, God, and the tears that the taste of success feels so sweet. If life was smooth, we would never discover our hidden strength. But when you climb a mountain, the beauty of the view at top is directly related to the difficulty of the climb. The tougher the journey, the more rewarding the destination. So, instead of thinking of struggles as roadblocks, think of them as signs that you are on the path of growth. Each challenge is like a stone added under your feet, lifting you higher, closer to your dreams. One day, when you look back, you will realize that every struggle was not standing in your way. It was paving your way. When we think of success, most of us picture the final outcome. The applause, the recognition, the joy of achievement. But success in itself is not truly fulfilling if it comes without the experience of struggle. Struggle gives meaning to success, just as darkness gives meaning to light. Imagine eating a delicious meal when you are not hungry. It won't feel as satisfying. But eat the same meal after a long day of hunger, and every bite feels precious. In the same way, success without struggle lacks taste, depth, and value. 16 hours in God. If someone handed you everything you ever wanted on a silver platter without effort, it may feel good for a short while, but soon you would feel empty. Why? Because true satisfaction comes not from the reward itself, but from the journey of earning it. The late nights, the sacrifices, the doubts, and the persistence, those are the elements that make success rich and meaningful. The beauty of climbing a mountain lies not in standing at the peak, but in the effort, the sweat, and God, and the determination that got you there. Think about a student who is preparing for an exam. If that student were given the answer sheet before the test, passing would be easy, but the achievement would feel hollow. There would be no sense of growth, no story to tell, no lesson learned. On the other hand, the student who struggles through study, overcomes distractions, and pushes through fatigue will experience a deep sense of pride when they finally succeed. That pride is born out of struggle. Struggle adds depth because it transforms success into something personal. It becomes a story worth sharing. It becomes a testimony that inspires others. When someone achieves success without effort, we might admire what they have, but we are not truly moved by their story. But when we hear about someone who rose after countless failures, and God, who never gave up despite endless obstacles, their journey touches our hearts. A struggle gives weight to the story of success. It makes it memorable, inspiring, and alive. Life without challenges may look comfortable, but comfort never builds character. Success that comes easily is often forgotten just as easily. 16 hours in God. But success that is born out of struggle stays with you forever because it becomes part of your identity. Every scar, every obstacle, every setback becomes a reminder of what you endured to get there. as 16 hours in God. That's why when people achieve something great or years of hardship, tears flow freely. Their emotions are not just about reaching the destination, but about remembering the journey that gave it meaning. So, success without struggle is like a book without a story, empty pages without depth. Struggle fills those pages with meaning, with lessons, with memories that last far beyond the achievement itself. God. Life has a unique way of teaching us, and some of its greatest lessons don't come from books, 16 hours in God, classrooms, or lectures. They come from challenges. Challenges may not look like teachers. In fact, they often come disguised as problems, failures, and difficulties. But once we go through them, we realize they carried powerful lessons that no ordinary teacher could ever give us. Challenges test us, stretch us, and in the process, they shape who we are. Think about a child learning to walk. Each time the child falls, it hurts. But each fall teaches balance, strength, and resilience. If the child were never allowed to fall, they would never learn to walk with confidence. Similarly, every challenge in our lives is like a fall. It may bring pain, but it teaches us balance and stability in the bigger journey of life. Without those stumbles, we would never truly grow. Challenges also teach humility. When life flows smoothly, as 16 hours, and it's easy to believe we are in control, that everything is happening because of our own power. But when difficulties strike, we are reminded of our limitations. We learn to seek help, to trust others, to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers. This humility makes us wiser and more compassionate because we begin to understand the struggles of others. Another lesson challenges offer is patience. In a world where everything is instant food, instant communication, instant entertainment, challenges slow us down. 16 hours, and they remind us that real growth takes time. Just as a tree does not grow overnight, neither do we. A seed must go through different seasons before it becomes a tree, and so must we endure our own seasons of waiting, struggling, and learning before we blossom into our true potential. Challenges are also powerful teachers of strength. When you lift weights at the gym, your muscles resist. They hurt, they even tear slightly. But in that resistance, they grow stronger. In the same way, ours and God, the struggles of life are like the weights that train our inner muscles. Courage, determination, and resilience. Without that resistance, we would remain weak, untested, and fragile. God, perhaps the beautiful lesson challenges teach gratitude. Once we have endured hardship, we begin to appreciate the simple joys of life more deeply. After being sick, health feels like a blessing. After experiencing loneliness, friendship feels like treasure. Without challenges, we often take life for granted. With them, we learn to value every gift, no matter how small. So when challenges come, instead of asking, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? That shift in perspective turns every obstacle into a classroom, every difficulty into a lesson, and every challenge into a guide that shapes us into stronger, wiser, and better human beings. Gold, in its raw form, is not the shiny metal we admire in jewelry stores. When it is first found, it is covered with impurities, rough and unattractive. To bring out its brilliance, it must go through intense fire. The flames melt away what is unnecessary, leaving behind pure, radiant gold. In much the same way, our struggles are like fire. 16 hours in God. They may feel unbearable while we are in them, but they are burning away our weaknesses, polishing our strengths, and refining our character. When life puts us through hardships, it is not always to break us. It is often to build us. Just as the fire doesn't destroy the gold, but purifies it. Struggles don't exist to ruin us, but to reveal the best within us. Many people wish for a smooth journey, but without the refining fire, we remain like raw gold, potentially valuable, but hidden under impurities. It is only when we go through challenges that our true worth shines through. Consider the lives of great achievers in history. Almost every one of them has gone through deep struggles before reaching success. Their failures, losses, and pain did not stop them. They shaped them. They gave them resilience, humility, and determination. Without those refining moments, they would not have become the people we admire today. Their brilliance, like gold, was revealed through fire. On a personal level, struggles test the strength of our values and beliefs. When things are easy, it is simple to speak of patience, kindness, or faith. But everything seems against us. When we are tested in fire, that is when our true values come forward. If we stay patient in the fire, our patience is real. If we remain hopeful in dark times, our hope is genuine. Struggles refine us by filtering out the pretenses and showing us who we truly are. The fire also teaches resilience. Imagine a sword being forged. The blacksmith places it into the fire repeatedly, hammering it over and over until it becomes sharp, strong, and ready. The process is tough, but the result is strength. Similarly, struggles may hammer us down, but every blow is shaping us into stronger versions of ourselves. Without that process, we would remain weak and fragile, unable to withstand the battles of life. And let us not forget, the fire is temporary. Just as gold is not left in flames forever, we are not meant to remain in struggle permanently. The heat is only for a time, long enough to refine us, but not to destroy us. When the struggle passes, we come out better, stronger, and more valuable than before. So every time life puts you into fire, and remember, you are not being burned, you are being refined. You are being prepared to shine. Gold, in its raw form, is not the shiny metal we admire in jewelry stores. When it is first found, it is covered with impurities, rough and unattractive. To bring out its brilliance, it must go through intense fire. The flames melt away what is unnecessary, leaving behind pure, radiant gold. In much the same way, our struggles are like fire. 16 hours in God. They may feel unbearable while we are in them, but they are burning away our weaknesses, polishing our strengths, and refining our character. When life puts us through hardships, it is not always to break us. It is often to build us. Just as the fire doesn't destroy the gold, but purifies it. Struggles don't exist to ruin us, but to reveal the best within us. Many people wish for a smooth journey, but without the refining fire, we remain like raw gold, potentially valuable, but hidden under impurities. It is only when we go through challenges that our true worth shines through. Consider the lives of great achievers in history. Almost every one of them has gone through deep struggles before reaching success. Their failures, losses, and pain did not stop them. They shaped them. They gave them resilience, humility, and determination. Without those refining moments, they would not have become the people we admire today. Their brilliance, like gold, was revealed through fire. On a personal level, struggles test the strength of our values and beliefs. When things are easy, it is simple to speak of patience, kindness, or faith. But everything seems against us. When we are tested in fire, that is when our true values come forward. If we stay patient in the fire, our patience is real. If we remain hopeful in dark times, our hope is genuine. Struggles refine us by filtering out the pretenses and showing us who we truly are. The fire also teaches resilience. Imagine a sword being forged. The blacksmith places it into the fire repeatedly, hammering it over and over until it becomes sharp, strong, and ready. The process is tough, but the result is strength. Similarly, struggles may hammer us down, but every blow is shaping us into stronger versions of ourselves. Without that process, we would remain weak and fragile, unable to withstand the battles of life. And let us not forget, the fire is temporary. Just as gold is not left in flames forever, we are not meant to remain in struggle permanently. The heat is only for a time, long enough to refine us, but not to destroy us. When the struggle passes, we come out better, stronger, and more valuable than before. So every time life puts you into fire, and remember, you are not being burned, you are being refined. You are being prepared to shine. Rentinos and God. Rejection is one of the most painful experiences we face as human beings. God, whether it is being turned down for a job, not being accepted by someone we admire, or failing at something we worked hard for, rejection stings deeply. It can make us feel like we are not good enough or that our dreams are out of reach. But if we look closely at life, we realize that rejection is rarely the end. It is often a redirection. It is life's way of telling us, not this way, there's something better ahead. Think about a GPS when you're driving. If you take a wrong turn, it doesn't scream at you and say, "Journey over, you'll never reach your destination." Instead, it calmly says, "Recalculating route." That's what rejection does. It is not the universe telling us to stop. 16 hours and God. It's simply guiding us toward a different route that will eventually take us to where we are meant to be and God. History is filled with stories of people who faced rejection before achieving greatness. One of the world's most loved writers, J.K. Rowling, God, had her manuscript for Harry Potter rejected multiple publishers before one finally accepted it. If she had stopped at rejection, millions of readers would have missed out on her magical world. Similarly, and God, Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination before building one of the most creative empires in history. The rejections were not the end of their journeys. They were redirections that pushed them towards something bigger, ours and God. On a personal level, think about times when you wanted something badly but didn't get it. Maybe it was a relationship that ended or a job opportunity that slipped away. At that moment, it felt like a loss. But later, you may have realized that something better came into your life, something more fitting, more meaningful, and more aligned with your true purpose. If the earlier door had not closed, the better one would not have opened. Rejection and failure also teach us resilience. They strengthen us by forcing us to re-evaluate, improve, and adapt. When something doesn't go our way, it gives us an opportunity to learn, to sharpen our skills, and to prepare for the next opportunity. Often, rejection builds qualities in us, like humility, persistence, and patience, that success never could. So, every time life says no, it doesn't mean you are unworthy. It means life has prepared AIs that is far greater than God, but perhaps in a direction you haven't yet imagined. Every closed door is not rejection. It is redirection, and every failure is simply a step guiding you toward a bigger success story. When life places struggles in our path, it is not only testing our ability to endure and God, but also shaping the qualities that make us capable of handling success when it finally arrives. Among the many lessons struggles teach, 3 stand out: resilience, patience, and humility. 16 hours in God. These 3 qualities are like the foundation of a strong building. Without them, no matter how tall the structure of success rises, it cannot stand for long. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after being knocked down. Imagine a rubber ball. No matter how hard you throw it against the ground, it bounces back higher. Life's struggles develop that same quality in us. Every time we face a failure and refuse to give up, every time we fall and choose to rise again, resilience is being built within us. This resilience ensures that when success comes, we don't collapse under pressure. Instead, we can handle the weight of responsibilities, criticism, and setbacks that come along with it. Patience is another priceless gift born out of struggle. In an age of instant gratification, we want everything quickly. Success, recognition, progress. But life teaches us that real success takes time, just as a seed takes months or even years to grow into a fruit-bearing tree. Struggles slow us down and remind us that waiting is part of the process. And God, when our efforts don't bear immediate results, we learn patience. This patience ensures that we don't quit halfway through our journey and God, but stay consistent long enough to taste the rewards of our hard work. Without struggles, patience would remain an empty word, but through challenges, it becomes a lived reality. 16 in God. Humility is perhaps the beautiful quality struggles give us. When everything in life is going well, it is easy to become arrogant, 16 hours, and God, to believe that we are the sole architects of our success. But struggles bring us back to earth. God, they remind us that we are not invincible, that we need other support and God, and that we must remain grounded no matter how high we rise. 16 hours in God. A person who has struggled and suffered often develops empathy and compassion for others in pain. They know what it feels like to be down, so when they rise, they extend a hand to lift others. Human hours in humility ensures that success does not intoxicate us with pride, but inspires us to use it for good. Together, resilience, patience, and humility are not just survival tools. They are success tools. Struggles plant these qualities deep within us, so that when success comes, we are not just achievers, but also leaders, givers, and role models who can sustain greatness for the long run. When we think about strength, we often look at athletes, warriors, or leaders and wonder where their power comes from. The truth is, power is not discovered in comfort. It is discovered in resistance. Just as a muscle grows only when it faces weight and pressure, our inner strength reveals itself only when life places resistance in our path. Without challenges and God, we would never truly know what we are capable of. Consider someone lifting weights at the gym. The barbell feels heavy, the muscles ache, and sometimes the body wants to give up. Yet, with every repetition, the muscle fibers are being torn and rebuilt stronger. If the person only lifted feathers, they would never build strength. In the same way, life's struggles are the weights we must lift. They may feel heavy, but every time we push through, we are building inner power that comfort could never give us. Resistance also reveals hidden abilities. Often, we underestimate ourselves. We think, I can't handle this, or this is too much for me. But when life forces us into tough situations, we are surprised by the courage, wisdom, and endurance that rise from within us. Think about times in your own life when you faced something you thought was impossible. At first, 16 hours in God, you doubted yourself, but as you kept moving, you discovered strength you never knew you had. That strength was always there. It simply needed resistance to awaken it. Hours in God. Another important truth is that resistance develops creativity and innovation. When the path is blocked, we are forced to think differently, to find new solutions, and to expand our minds. God. Some of the greatest inventions and discoveries in history came out of resistance. Moments when comfort was taken away and human beings had to rise above their limits. Without struggle, we would never stretch beyond the ordinary. Moreover, resistance prepares us for bigger responsibilities. Imagine a tree that grows in perfect conditions. No storms, no winds, no pressure. Its roots remain shallow, and one strong wind could knock it down. But a tree that grows in harsh conditions, fighting storms and winds, develops deep roots that make it unshakable. In the same way, God, life's resistance strengthens our foundation, ensuring that when we rise to success, we don't collapse at the first challenge. The beauty of resistance is that it transforms ordinary people into extraordinary souls. It pushes us to grow, to discover our hidden reserves of strength, and to realize that we are far more powerful than we ever imagined. Without resistance, we might live comfortably, but we would never live fully. When we go through dark times, it often feels as though the light has left our lives forever. These are the moments of despair, confusion, and pain when hope seems distant and every step feels heavy. Yet, you are 16 hours, and it is in these very dark seasons that the seeds of our brightest victories are sown. Just as the night is darkest before dawn, 16 hours, and our greatest challenges often come just before our greatest breakthroughs. Think of the process of a diamond, deep inside the earth. Under immense pressure and complete darkness, a simple piece of carbon undergoes a transformation. It is pressed, heated, and buried for thousands of years. To the outside eye, it seems like suffering. But in truth, God, that darkness and pressure are creating one of the most precious and brilliant stones in the world. Without the darkness, there would be no diamond. In the same way, our darkest struggles forge within us the brilliance needed to shine in victory later. It is 16 hours and God. It is often when we are at our lowest point that we learn the deepest lessons. Darkness forces us to reflect, to discover strength within ourselves, and to depend on hope even when it seems invisible. In light, we take things for granted. In darkness, we learn to value even the smallest glimmer of hope. And when victory comes, the joy is magnified because we remember the depth of the pain we endured to reach it. History is filled with individuals who turned their darkest moments into their greatest triumphs. Leaders who once faced rejection, innovators who failed repeatedly, ours and God, and individuals who were ridiculed or doubted. All of them discovered that their pain was preparing them for something greater. Their victories shone brighter because they were born out of the deepest struggles. On a personal level, think about times when you faced situations you thought would break you. At that moment, it felt like an ending. But looking back, 23 hours and God, you realize it was the very hardship that gave you the strength, wisdom for 16 hours and God, and resilience you carry today. Without that darkness, you would not be the person you are now. Darkness has another gifting. It makes us grateful for the light. When success finally comes after years of struggle, God, we appreciate it deeply because we know what it took to get there. Victories that arrive too easily often fade away without leaving a lasting impact. But victories born out of struggle remain with us forever. They become stories of inspiration, not just for ourselves, but for others who walk in their own darkness. So the truth is, the darkest struggles are not there to destroy us. They are there to prepare us, to mold us, and to give us the strength to shine when our brightest victories finally arrive. In the moment of struggle, it rarely feels like a blessing. It feels painful, heavy, unfair. 16 hours and God. And sometimes unbearable. We question why life has put us through such difficulties, and we often wish those moments never happened. Yet, as time passes and we look back, 16 hours and God, something remarkable happens. We begin to see those very struggles as blessing in disguise. What once felt like a curse reveals itself as the reason we grew stronger, wiser, and more capable. And God. Think about the times in your life when you faced disappointment or loss. Perhaps you didn't get the job you wanted, or a relationship you valued ended, or a plan you carefully designed collapsed. At that moment, it felt like a setback. But later, you might have realized that if those things had worked out, you would have been stuck in a smaller version of life. The closed door pushed you toward a better opportunity, a healthier relationship, 6 hours in God, or a more fulfilling path. The setback was actually a setup for something greater. Life has a way of hiding gifts inside difficulties. Just as a seed must be buried in the soil before it can sprout, our struggles bury us for a while, but only to prepare us for growth. The seed may feel lost in the darkness, but soon, it's 16 hours in God. It pushes upward and breaks through into the light. If the seed could look back, it would realize that being buried was not its end, but its beginning. Our struggles work the same way. Struggles also become blessings because they shape our character. Success can give us comfort, but it is struggles that give us depth. They teach us resilience. Emperors got empathy and perspective. A person who has gone through hardship often values life more deeply, treats others more kindly, and appreciates success more humbly. These inner qualities are treasures that come disguised as pain. Without the struggle, we would not have gained them. God, many of the world's most inspiring stories come from people who transformed their setbacks into blessings. Their failures became lessons. Their losses became turning points. God and their struggles became the reason for their success. They didn't see it in the moment, but when they looked back, the pattern became clear. Every difficulty was guiding them toward their destiny. When we are in the middle of hardship, it's hard to see the bigger picture. But life has a mysterious way of connecting the dots when we look backward. What felt like rejection, loss, God, or delay often becomes the very reason we are living a better life today. 16 hours in God. The struggle that once made us cry later makes us grateful. That is why, when we look back, we realize our struggles were not setbacks at all. They were hidden blessings, carrying us toward the life we were meant to live.